Schweizer to put into clear perspective, again, sort of the nature of the opposition. Peter, come on up. Peter is well known, so I think you all will recognize from a lot of, frankly, the mainstream media, well, out of the mainstream, but 60 Minutes, Newsweek, etc. He is a dogged researcher who is really, you'll maybe familiar with his books about, members of Congress who are benefiting from insider trading. A lot of the cronyism stuff he's uncovered. He's a great researcher, great asset for our movement and our cause. But I think you've also got a good handle on what the opposition is like as well. Could you make some comments to close this out?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, everybody, for being here. I've written 3 books on the Reagan administration, but I think my favorite Ronald Reagan story concerns when he was governor of California. Set the scene for you. It's 1968, and he, of course, is part of the University of California Regents system as governor. And he's in Berkeley, California. And he's standing with Lynn Noxiger, his longtime aide. And the meeting is just breaking up, and they're getting ready to head to the governor's limousine. And there's a crowd that starts to form outside. And the crowd starts to chant, "Make love, not war. Make love, not war." Well, Lynn Noxiger's a little bit nervous, and he says, "Governor, maybe we should go a different direction." And Reagan says, "No, don't worry about it, Lynn. Let's just keep going." So they start walking towards the crowd, and the crowd keeps chanting, "Make love, not war. Make love, not war." Then Noxiger's getting very, very nervous. He says, "Governor, I think we should go a different way." Reagan says, "Lynn, don't worry about it." They keep walking closer. The crowd is chanting, "Make love, not war. Make love, not war." At which point Reagan turns to Noxiger and says, "Lynn, don't worry about it. This crowd doesn't look like they're capable of doing anything." Now, alas, those people that Reagan encountered in Berkeley in 1968, of course, have moved on, and they now control some of the very institutions in the United States today. But it's sometimes hard to encapsulate. Well, I had help from a neighbor a couple of months ago. A neighbor had moved into the area where I'm from in Florida. This neighbor is from the developing world. And he asked, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I fight communism and corruption." And I explained all the sorts of things that we try to do. And as I sort of rambled on issues we worked on, he interrupted me and he said, "Oh, I understand it. You fight for the American dream." I spent a lot of time researching what I call crony capitalism and corruption. And here is something that has puzzled me for a very long time. Why is it that progressives on the left are so supportive of crony capitalism? Why is it that progressives on the left seem to embrace so many forms of corporate welfare? I mean, these are guys that hate corporations, right? These are guys that hate the private sector. And then it dawned on me, the reason that they don't mind that sort of government behavior is because for the left, when it comes to the American dream, it's about dependence versus independence. You all can make your money independently, not independently of families and of friends and of the but independent of the government. Crony capitalism says to professionals and to corporations, you can't do it independent of the government. And just like the welfare state has created a culture of dependency among people that are in poverty in the United States, the goal for crony capitalism, in my mind, is to create a status of dependence of the successful on government, on the argument that that's the only way that they made their money. So, if you look at what's happening in the country today, I think this starts to explain a lot of things. Not about creating revenue for the government, which is what we kind of assume taxation is about. The tax code is increasingly about redistributing wealth. It's the whole issue of student loan forgiveness. Did you guys see this a couple of weeks ago? President Obama has proposed, because you have so many students facing crushing debt on student loans, has come up with a proposal. He's going to fix it. You know what his proposal is? If you leave college and you go and work in the private sector, after 20 years, they will erase your debt. They want to direct you towards dependence and away from independence. The left doesn't dislike you or hate you because of what you do. They dislike you and hate you because of who you are. It would be very nice to think that you could sit out in this debate and say, I'm just going to live a quiet life. I'm going to enjoy my family. I'm going to enjoy my lifestyle. I'm going to enjoy the success I've built with my business. And I'm going to sort of shut the rest of the world out. The problem is you can't do that. As far as the left is concerned, you, by what you accomplish when you continue who you are, show that there will be incorrectness in an absolute line. That debate is the question of independence versus dependence. And what Woodrow Wilson was explaining is that they are not going to let up. Politicians today are not going to let up. The left in the academic sphere is not going to let up. The question is, are we going to let up? And I would contend that we cannot let up. We can't sit this out because ultimately the debate is going to be settled by who has the most energy, who has the most serious ideas, which I believe we have, and who has a commitment to succeeding and winning. And with that, I'll say that.
I'd like Marc to come up. We just have a couple of little closing comments we'd like to make. Again, so this is our final report to you as our investors or potential investors. Actually, the last meeting was a very inspiring lunch, and those of you who were there, it was really quite dramatic, and really was just has motivated a lot of us to action. And I hope that you all will not look to our lunch with dread, but with a lot of eager anticipation. And then after that, we have another round of breakout sessions this afternoon. Folks have asked, what if you can't raise it, or you obviously prioritize things, trying to achieve the objectives. On the other hand, if we're able to raise more than this, we certainly will put it toward the very long-term objectives that we have. On the one hand, those things that Rick talked about yesterday, the long-term stuff and reaching the middle, but also in building these capabilities. You all remember the strategy that Marc laid out, and that was engaging early on the issues beginning last October. Thanks to y'all's investments last year, when no one else really had the resources to be in this fight at all. What we did, we believe, effectively took the House out of play. It was a great idea, Marc, and it also has given us a fighting chance from the Senate as well. It changed a lot of the debate. But it's also about the ground presence that we're doing for American prosperity, generation opportunity, concern that we've been able to double that presence in the targeted states that are both targeted for this year and long term as well. And then finally, where does this go to? After 2008, it was data messaging, voter contact has grown. So reaffirm generation opportunity for certain best, improve the work in economics, obviously American prosperity, and then we've added competitive intelligence, customer segmentation, and recruitment. That's what your investments are paying for. Marc, if you could add a little bit to that, and then I'll come back after a couple more comments.
So when we invested last fall, we provided the resources for a lot of it. As I mentioned, we were forward here until the end of this year. A lot of our investments were moved back into where we think that we can really feel better program. It doesn't mean that we will abandon the media side, and as I mentioned, we'll look to do more of that through a super PAC that we're creating that allows us to be more engaged in the last 60 days.
How could you all contribute to this? Bring a partners who can take it from the broad organizing operation, a 501c6 organization, a membership organization. That is the primary vehicle. That organization went back to a lot of the other 501c2 organizations, such as American Prosperity. Maybe some of you are constrained that you can only do 501c3. It's about 10 to 15%, maybe 20% of the overall budget is 501c3 exposure, and can help sort of give us a little bit more bite in the last 2 months with respect to the electoral objectives. That would be great as well. We'll go into that, and by the way, our team always glad to work with you on an individual basis, however you want to dig into it, address this, and that's what we do, particularly after this meeting. And obviously, too, if you believe that you've got some other folks, back home in Chicago, or Boston, or Orlando, or Tempe, or Spokane, and you want to bring them together, we are glad to put together a team that is interested, exactly Joel's interest, to go into this, maybe into a half day or a day-long presentation as well, if that would be useful. Glad to follow up in that regard. So before we break for lunch, maybe just a couple of questions if there are any. I know on the one hand, look, this is crazy, $290 million. Extraordinarily intimidating figures. This is a long way from where we were 7 or 8 years ago. But, as Marc pointed out, Marc Hogan pointed out this morning, I don't think it's a drop in the bucket next to what the left is doing. But it's not like, don't believe the emails that the left sends out trying to raise money for their causes. They're sitting out right now saying that we're leading to raise $290 million. Well, look, they've got, they literally are talking about $2 billion. I know you're all going to come up, and I'm sure this frustrates some of you. Well, look, I really think that, we talked about this recently. New Mexico U.S. Senate race could be in play, or this governor's race could be in play, or this House race, or what do you guys, this is the opportunity to do more on voter fraud, or what are we doing to expose this? Yes, absolutely. But we have to prioritize and do what we can do most effectively. And we're going to give you, hopefully, certainly as honest, but a really sterile, candid, emotionless assessment of what needs to get done to make sure we get it done and achieve the objectives as best as possible. And, we want to be ready to expand with additional resources, but we've got to stay focused on the main things that we can achieve. And, it's tough. Sometimes we have tough discussions. We're a lot of California. I wish we could do more about California. We don't want to give up on California yet, but putting a lot of resources there right now, or New York, just wouldn't be prudent. And so that's, we're trying to do this in a business-like way for you all, because literally you all are our investors. Yeah. Frayda, could you grab a microphone? Somebody grab Frayda a microphone there. You introduce yourself and ask a question.
Frayda Levin, and why don't you explain about the calls that take place in the interim to keep everybody updated on what's going on?
Yeah, so we will try to give you as much information as you would like. We schedule generally every other week a conference call. We try not to send a lot of detailed stuff out in email form or written form. We're also glad to talk to you in person if that's even better. But we really want to keep you as informed as possible about your investments to make sure what you choose to do really advances your objectives as closely as possible, again, to what you're trying to achieve and what we're trying to achieve. All right, Marc is, yes sir, microphone cover right up here. You introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Deputy from Dallas, Texas. My big question is, can we designate our donations to our state, for example, Texas? We're supporting my asset in the American for Prosperity program there. Can we designate our funds for Texas?
Absolutely. You can designate your funds for something we're doing anyway, all right? So obviously the Battleground Texas project is a huge aspect of what we're doing, absolutely. But if you come to us and say, I want, $1 million to start an American for Prosperity chapter in Hawaii tomorrow, we're going to probably say, let's talk about it after this fall's election, thanks to no thanks. So yes, as long as it's along the priorities of what we laid out, and certainly Texas is. Okay? Lunch is upstairs in the Monarch ballroom. We look forward to seeing you in a couple minutes.